Welcome everyone to Tarot Unicorns and Coffee New Moon in Aquarius celebration.
Yay.
I like to keep it in a celebratory mood to keep everyone excited and happy and pumped up about what's going on up above us in the sky. I am your host, one of your hosts, Valerie Lewis, and the founder of Tarot Unicorns and Coffee. And I have my wonderful, amazing, lovely co-host Robin Poole waving at you now. She is the astrologer here. So a little bit before we get into it, rules and guidelines, real simple. I only have two. Love and light always. Hold yourself in love and light and everyone else in love and light. And number two, don't start no shit, won't be no shit. We keep ourselves and hold ourselves as responsible adults in this coming together of well, all of y'all do. I don't consider myself a responsible adult, but all of y'all do. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get into it. A little information on how these events run. It's been almost a year, I think, maybe almost a year, coming up on a year this spring. When we started doing these events, I was very much beginner. All I knew is that I loved the moon. And come to find out, I love the moon because of past life stuff, but also current life stuff. And I just wanted to find a way to celebrate the moon and work with these moon energies that I've been hearing so much about. And I started these events literally with little to no knowledge about moon rituals or full moon or new moon. And so if I can do it, anybody can do it. But as I got into these events, wanting to be able to present a fuller picture of what was going on, Robin would come to the events, which I'm so eternally grateful. And I know she was divinely led that she showed up at my events being an amazing astrologer. And she showed up in my events when I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And it just worked out so well because I would say something and then I'd be like, wait a minute, Robin. And Robin would add in. And then after a while, I was just like, Robin, can you just do the events with me? So So that's how it has evolved. And with that being said, I like to give a beginner / intermediate understanding overview of the energies. And then Robin gives a more in-depth look at the energies that are present and available. And we both like to share ways with how we can work with them no matter where you are on your journey. So we present the energies and what's going on. And then we both come back and we share rituals. My goal for these events going forward into this year is to give y'all a little bit something different every time from my presentation standpoint. So don't look to, if I do something one time and you love it, it might be different next time. I'm just giving y'all a heads up. So with that being said, did I mention rituals? I said, yeah, then we come back and do the rituals. Okay. I do have a ritual for y'all. Y'all haven't had rituals a couple of times. I have a ritual today. And I think it'll be fun. So I want to encourage you right now, if you have it available, go ahead and pull out your chart. It kind of helps as we go through these events. It's not necessary. It's not mandatory. You will get the full spectrum of everything that the moon has to offer without having your chart, but that just gives you an extra level of how to relate it to yourself. Second, I would like to advise you, if possible, to grab pen and paper or paper and something to write with, because I am going to ask you to jot down some things when we get more into it. Okay, Robin, did you have anything that you wanted to add to the start, or do you want to go ahead and get into the grounding?
I think we can. I want to add the tea bag wisdom I got today.
Oh, okay.
On today's tea bag, I feel like I'm now just going to buy this brand of tea because these wisdoms are so good. Are you guys ready? Here it was. So if you've asked the universe for a sign or your spirit guides for a sign anytime in the last couple days, this might be it. The tea bag wisdom is, you don't need love, you are the love.
Ooh.
You don't need love, you are the love. So if any of you have a little inner voice like mine this morning, which said, what if nobody likes me? What if people hate me? And then I heard a voice that was like, it's fine, everybody likes you. And I'm like, I don't think that's accurate. Like, that everybody likes, right? Like some people are to people's taste. And then I thought, wait, the point is, it's okay if some people don't like you. And then I got this tea bag. You don't need the love, you are the love. All right.
Awesome.
Enough tea bag pontificating. Yeah. All right, let's do our grounding. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to you, wherever you are. Settle in your chair or on the ground or on your bed, wherever you are, and just feel into your body a bit. Let's give our bodies some love. Thank you, bodies, for carrying us and being our vessels. If there's any area of your body that seems tense or is feeling in pain, you can release some energy there, relax those muscles, send some soothing love. Roll your shoulders and your neck and settle in. Feel the chair under your backside and your feet on the floor or the bed under your back, whatever that is. We're just going to ground or center or expand ourselves however is comfortable for you. If you want to center in your heart, if you want to let your psyche ride out and not constrain your aura, maybe you're connecting to the trees or the rocks or the animals and your environment. Maybe you have energy going down through the soles of your feet and you're releasing toxins down into the earth. Or maybe you're expanding your mind and your consciousness is going up into the stars. Or maybe you're like me and you're doing all of the above because it's a 360-degree review. Expansion of your energies, reminding yourself that you belong on this planet and you are a beautiful part of life here. And any ups and downs and any little voices inside of you are just all part of the human experience, including past life memories if you got some of that going on. We're just going to take a moment to be grateful for our existence, connect out to our own energies and to any divine or higher self energies that you want to bring in to today's event. And I'd like to set my intention. You can join this or set your own. My intention is that we will all receive from this event what is the most helpful for our own highest good, our own best interest. We'll learn from each other and we'll learn from what Valerie and I say, but we won't think that what somebody else said is like the definitive answer for us. Nobody here is an authority who has to be obeyed. We are our own authority, and in our own power, we'll listen to what happened today and decide for us the best way to implement that. And I'm going to ask that we all have great wisdom and insight and come away with something new where we're like, wow, I never thought of it that way, or that's a good idea. Or, I could try that even if it feels scary or different. And I'd like to ask for protection energies to come around us and keep out any negative or challenging energies. But if you sense a negative or challenging energy, it may have been allowed in so that you could feel your own power in kicking it out. So exercise your own discernment if you hear any voices or energies that are not what you want to experience in this. And I want to thank Valerie for setting all this up and doing all the scheduling and having her beautiful meetup, and thank the house spirits and the land spirits where I am and wherever you are for keeping us safe and warm and protecting the places that we live and that we call home. So just take another minute or so to settle into the energy. Think about what you want to create for today's experience. Let any worries fall away. You can put them in a box at your feet if you think you might need them later. Right now, we're just going to focus in on being with each other. And I'm going to set a second intention, which is that we will create a beautiful and supportive and instructive energetic space. And then when this meeting is over, we will all leave and we won't take any energy with us that's not for our own highest good. We can support each other safely and connect. And then we will separate when the end comes. We'll all go about our separate ways, feeling enriched and nourished, but not dragging with us anything that doesn't belong to us. And I just want to thank our divine connection and any supportive ancestor, spirit guide energies that are here with us today. And thank you guys all for coming and taking your time to be with us and the moon and Aquarius and work on creating the lives that we really want to create. Take a nice deep breath. Let out any energy that doesn't belong here today for what you want to create. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and we'll come on back and get started. Okay.
Thank you, Robin.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. I hope everyone's feeling a little bit more grounded. All right, so let's get into it. Let's get into this celebration about the new moon in Aquarius. So I will kick things off talking about these energies overall, give you an overview, and then I'll turn it over to Robin and she'll talk about the astrological energies and the new moon energies as well. Before we start though, I just want to ask y'all, I've heard murmurs, I've heard whispers in the spiritual community among like-minded friends. Has anybody had a slightly rough start to their new year? Just a little bit. Did January kind of knock you on your ass just a little bit? Some things going on that you're just like, hold up. We were supposed to get rid of all of that in 2021. I set intentions, damn it. And then January did just not go as planned, or maybe you're feeling more sluggish. Anna said January was shit so far. I love it. Okay. Good news. We get a do-over. We get to do it over, y'all. Let's talk about the do-overs that this new moon is presenting us. This new moon is supercharged to give us all an opportunity to truly take advantage of a fresh start, a start over. And we're going to talk about that. I'm just so glad that I'm seeing so many smiles when I say do-over. Everybody's had a little bit of some bumps going into January. I had some big bumps. So I want to focus in on the word supercharged, because as I go through this presentation, I'm going to talk about the different ways. So imagine a video game with the moon hanging out, and we're just going to keep adding these charges to this moon, all with the energy of us getting a chance to do over, to start fresh, start anew. So this supercharged moon, the first thing I want to talk about is the date. The date is so close to the midnight crossover on January 31st that for some of us, it will happen on January 31st, really close to midnight. And for some of us, I'm speaking globally, those who live in other areas besides the US, it'll happen on February 1st. But I'm going to go with February 1st in some instances, and then I'm going to reference January 31st in some instances. But this first new moon, if we consider this new moon coming on February 1st, that is the start of the lunar moon, the lunar new year. Yay! Chinese astrology, it's their New Year celebration on February 1st. So that's where I'm saying y'all get a do-over. If y'all didn't like what January 1st served up to you, just be like, yeah, I don't really follow that calendar. I follow the lunar calendar, and my New Year's is on February 1st. Do-over. So everybody take that as a gift from the moon to you, that you all get to consider February 1st your new year and start over again. So it's the Lunar New Year. For those that follow Chinese astrology, this is the year of the tiger. I'm just putting that out there. I'm not going to go too much into the year of the tiger, except to mention that the tiger is coming in with the energy of Aquarius, and that's significant. It's a gentle tiger. It's a laid back tiger. So that's your chance to reset. So that's the first charge we get, is that this new moon falls on the Lunar New Year cycle, or it is the beginning of the Lunar New Year. So we get a do-over, first charge. The second thing I want to mention about about this moon is, if you calculate it as falling on January 31st, it would be the second new moon in one calendar month, which many refer to as a black moon. Could be the second in a calendar month or the second in a season, I believe, is considered the black moon, which is why I'm decked out in black lipstick. That, and the fact that as a young kid, I always envied the goth kids. Like, I wanted to be goth, but my parents and my situation would not allow it. So I get to rock the black lipstick because it's the black moon. So that's the only time I'm going to reference it falling on January 31st, because if we put it on January 31st, it gives us the second in the month and it allows us to call it the black moon. But other than that, if we go with February 1st, start of a new year, Lunar New Year. So that's the first charge. New moons in general, for those of you who might be beginners, new moons are a chance to reset. New moons are when the moon is dark. It's also called the dark moon. And I like to think of it as a dark, black, slated chalkboard, wiped clean, and you get to write what you want on this chalkboard, set your intentions. So it's a new moon, a fresh start, resetting your intentions, for the upcoming lunar cycle to see what manifests for you between now and the full moon. I forgot to mention that new moon energy in and of itself is a reset, but now we have this reset happening on the first day of the lunar new year. That's our first supercharge. Our second charge to this moon energy is the fact that it is in Aquarius, new moon in Aquarius. So we're going to talk just a little bit about Aquarian energy. So Aquarian energy, one of the best statements I found out there on the World Wide Web is that this energy asks you to vibrate at your highest potential. I love that phrase, vibrate at your highest potential and envision your biggest dreams. Now, Aquarian energy is going to come in later in this presentation because that's the main crux of what my ritual is about. So I'm not going to spend too much time talking about Aquarian energy. Just know that it'll come up later. Aquarius is ruled by the planet Saturn. Saturn is also currently positioned with our moon in Aquarius. And so Saturn is at home in Aquarius. So, or as Robin said, it's super comfortable. It's like this really good placement. So we have Aquarius energy by Saturn, and Saturn is also currently transiting or in the sign of Aquarius, which makes that supercharged moon even more Aquarian. Excuse me. Saturn energy, which we will talk more about later as well, more in depth. But Saturn is working to help us not just think about, so Aquarius wants us to think about our biggest dream. Saturn energy helps us to not just think about our biggest and deepest wishes, but to put a foundation or a plan in place to actually achieve them. So, excuse me, one moment. So Saturn is the taskmaster of the zodiac. When I thought about that, I thought about how we could actually talk to Saturn. If we have this big idea that we're putting out there to the universe, Saturn's answer to us would be, yes, you can absolutely have that. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to bring that about? Saturn asks us, or Saturn says to us, Saturn says, how can I help you plan for the arrival of what you seek? And that came to me very specifically in those words as I was writing this out. Plan for the arrival. I found it very interesting that it was worded that way because it didn't say, how can I help you reach for this thing you want? How can I help you think about this thing? How can we move you towards this thing? And what it already put it in the sights as this is going to happen. Saturn is saying this is going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. How do you plan for the arrival of it? Because it's coming, it's happening. So it already put it in the bucket of done. And now Saturn is going to help us allow that to come into our life. So Aquarius, Saturn, supercharged number 2. Moving on, supercharged number 3, another bolt of juices into this beautiful new moon is the fact that this new moon happens smack dab in the middle of Venus is currently retrograde. No, Venus was retrograde and went direct. And we have Mercury, which is currently retrograde, which will go direct on February 3rd. So we have the 29th with Venus going direct and the February 3rd with Mercury going direct, thank God. And we have the new moon smack dab in the middle. What does that mean for our new moon? It means that the energies of shedding the past. So retrogrades are a chance for us to look at the past, determine what we don't want from the past and what is working, and let go of what's not working. That's what retrogrades do for us overall. And with this new moon coming smack dab in the middle of these 2 retrogrades ending, this is letting the energies of those retrogrades ending and shedding the past, couple that with this new moon where we are truly wiping that slate clean and getting rid of what does not serve us so that we can step into this, not that chalkboard that you can kind of faintly kind of see what was scribbled on it last week and it's got dust marks all over it, but this Venus Mercury retrograde moving out is truly wiping that slate clean so we can truly have a new year, if we want to call it that, or a new moon, if we want to call it that. So we have those energies working with it as well. The fourth power up supercharge to our new moon. I want to pause for just a moment because I see the chat going crazy. Am I missing anything, Robin?
There was a question. DOM said, is this a do-over for just the human race or other energy in the world kingdom, which can have side effects on each of us? I asked if the moon is very attached to the animal and plant kingdom, hence planting. Awesome. And everybody else that in the chat is just like, that's amazing. We love that. They love the black thing. I loved the bucket of done. So yeah.
Awesome. So to answer that question, I believe anything in the moon's reach is going to be affected by it. So no, not just humans and not just individuals, but the collective as a whole has a chance. And yes, especially plants and vegetation, because back in the day, that's how we knew when to plant our crop. We looked up and we figured out what was the moon going, what was the moon doing, what season am I in, when should I plant this, when should I? So yes, those are absolutely all affected by the energies of the moon, vegetation, Mother Earth herself, very much so, yes. Excellent question, I like that. Okay, I spent the majority of my presentation on this because I thought it was just gonna be a little bit that I was gonna mention, and once I looked into it, I was just like, oh my God. So sometimes y'all just get the benefit of the rabbit holes I go down. The next fourth supercharged energy that we're going to power up this new moon with is the fact that there is a currently, we already talked about Saturn being in the sign of Aquarius with our moon. Well, Uranus is squared to Saturn. So we have a Saturn and Uranus square. I was looking on my notes because it split it onto the page. Uranus is in Taurus. That's what I was looking for. Uranus is currently in Taurus, which is square to where Saturn is located in the sky. What does all of that mean, Valerie? Put it in words I can understand. Saturn and Uranus square. Square is opposition. It's not favorable. It's not opposition. Opposition is something else. But square is what is challenging. That's the word I'm looking for. Square is a challenging aspect, not a favorable aspect. So all of this, remember, all of these charges, put these in the context of these energies are going to have effect on our new moon. That's why we're talking about them. So Saturn is the planet that talks about rules and boundaries, and also ask us what we want to build and how can we preserve that. So foundations, how can we build something that's going to last the test of time? Excuse me, one moment. All right, Uranus. So we have rules, boundaries, build, preserve. What is challenging that is that we have Uranus hanging out. That is about freedom and rebellion. It's about change and destroying things that don't serve us. So we have this rules and boundaries, freedom, change, and they're in a little bit of challenging aspects currently to each other. The way I like to think about that, this analogy came to mind, is picture a construction site. They're trying to build something. Maybe you can put it in metaphysical terms, trying to build your future, trying to build your dream, whatever. There's this construction site. We have the demolition crew, but we also have the people the builders, and they're there at the same time. And the builders are trying to put in the foundation, and the demolition crew keeps coming in and just knocking shit over. So they need to, they're challenging each other because we want something new to rise, but at the same time, the demolition crew is in there at the same time. So they got their signals mixed. This is how I'm seeing it in their mind. They got their signals mixed. They showed up on site at the wrong time. They both showed up at the same time. One's trying to build and one's knocking shit down. That can be what these energies feel like. However, it's a construction site. We have a way to work with these energies and be like, hey, hold off. We need you to go knock down that wall over there, but not this foundation that we just built. We're building this foundation over here. Don't touch this. And so they need to work together and just give them shifts. Tell them where they need to knock down. Tell them where they need to build. Tell them when to be on site and when to take a lunch. Instead of having them work against each other, we can find ways for them to work together, even though they're currently square each other. So I like to think of it in that construction sense, like they're both on site at the same time, but we have to figure out how do we get these energies to work together. So we have strong and stable Saturn energy, which has the potential, again, going back to this new year, new you, this strong, stable potential, the strong, stable energy of Saturn has the potential to help get us back on track. If we felt like we got knocked for a loop in January, this Saturn energy is just what we need to bring back that stability and that sense of foundation to help us feel like we're back on track. Especially if we were one of those people who had one of those what the fuck type of moments in January. This is going to put us back in line. I'm going to read this quote from Jessica Davidson, and it says, alignments between Saturn and Uranus represent periods of radical change and disruption to the status quo. It's a good time to break out of old habits that have become too restrictive and to make creative changes to the structures of your life. These periods coincide with a crisis in consciousness that can lead to awakenings, breakthroughs, and/or breakdowns. But let's focus on the breakthroughs and the awakenings. That's what our goal is here. So if you've been feeling a little trapped, stifled, or just extra sluggish lately, which can happen when we have planets in retrograde, now is a good time to ask the energies that are present to come in and sit with you. Like literally ask them to come in and sit with you. Then with their help, with them present, ask yourself these questions. And these might be, when I say grab paper and pencil, this might be something you want to jot down for later reflection. Is there something in my life that is holding me back that I'm not ready to let go of yet? And then as you sit with these energies asking for clarity, also ask yourself, why? Why are you unwilling to let go of this non-beneficial thought, mindset, or energy? There's something in it. Maybe it's protecting you. Maybe there's fear. But why? The goal is to work towards becoming more aligned with the flow of life so that you can let this next cycle happen with as little resistance as possible. So you're asking these energies to help you identify what you need to let go of so that you can build the new. Kind of like the death and rebirth card in Tarot, if you follow Tarot. So another thing that you can look at that's going to make this more personal to you, and I'll give you an example from my own chart, but I want you to, if possible, if you're familiar with your chart, look at what house Saturn and Aquarius fall in on your birth chart. So what areas of your life is that Saturn energy currently helping you build and stabilize? And what areas of your life is that Aquarius, Uranus energy helping you see this needs to change, this needs to go, you need to let go of this. What do you need to change and release? And you can tell that by where these planets are situated in your house. Another question you might ask is, where can I add more structure in my life that will allow me to feel more freedom later? An example of that, adding more structure so I can feel more freedom. Those two energies that we would think are opposing, but think of it like this. Can you set up a schedule? This is very Saturn structured energy. Can you set up a schedule for your day where you intentionally schedule free time? So now, instead of just going and falling from one activity to the next throughout your day and sitting at the end of the day and looking back and saying, oh my gosh, I never had a chance to do that one thing or go get that one treat I wanted. I just didn't have time for it. Well, pulling in that Saturn energy of structure allows you to set a schedule where you intentionally set free time. So now you have structure and freedom, both working together. So that's just one example of how that can work together. But let me give you, and how those energies can benefit each other. But let me give you a personal observation based on if you're looking at where these placements are on your chart. So Saturn for me is in my 5th house. And that's what little I know about the 5th house, is that that house governs romance, creativity, and the pursuit of pleasure. I'm going to highlight creativity. That's where I want to hone in on for my 5th house. Saturn in my 5th house. Uranus is in my 8th house, which I like to call this house other people's money. And when I say other people's money, I'm talking about business partnerships where your money is somehow tied or linked to someone else, or it might be debt. Who do you owe money to? Or it might be anything that involves the flow of money into or out of your life is what I consider other people's money, and what I consider 8th house one of the rulers of. It also rules things like
Valerie, we have a quick question. I think that I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that just to clarify so people can follow along. Are you talking about finding where Saturn is in their natal chart? Or are you talking about finding the sign of Aquarius, which is where Saturn is in the zodiac right now?
Saturn.
Like when you say Saturn's in your 5th house, do you actually have, like when you were born, was Saturn in your 5th house?
No,
or
where it's currently at, where it's transiting.
Okay, so we're looking at the transiting Saturn, which is currently in the sign of Aquarius. So don't find your natal Saturn. Find the sign of Aquarius in your chart, which
and
is where
Taurus or Uranus. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and then find Taurus, which is where Uranus is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's a question in the chat, so I'm just trying to.
Okay. Just saying if there's anything else. I'm going to come back to some of those questions because I am seeing more questions. Okay, so Aquarius and Taurus, or Saturn and Uranus, where they're at currently. Mine, Saturn is in my 5th house and Uranus is in my 8th house. And 8th house is other people's money, also sex, taboos, subjects, and transformation. So for me, Saturn is asking me to stabilize my creative process, because I went with creativity for 5th house, in a way to position me to transform and shift me to allow more money to flow to me more easily. So I went with creativity in my 5th house, stabilizing, and what needs to change, Uranus energy in my 8th house, what needs to change regarding other people's money. And I associate other people's money with my business pursuits. So how can I stabilize my creative process to put me in a position to transform and shift me to allow more money to flow to me more easily through my business? So now if you relate that back to the fact that this is a new moon, we're going to pull in that new moon energy. How can we work with all of these energies and the new moon? Because we pull those energies or that mindset into, or those understandings into setting our intentions when we set our new moon intentions. So for me, it might look like this. As I write out my intention, or as I ask the universe and the benefiting energies, please show me ways to use my creativity to create the income I want. That's very much working with the new moon intention setting and with Saturn and Uranus, where they are currently placed for me personally in my chart. Another one I might say is, set an intention that I will not stifle my creativity. I will allow it to flow because I know that being in the flow is where my true sense of abundance resides. So tying that in with abundance and flow into my life. So that's how you can do that on your own. Of course, you can reach out to us or ask either one of us. Probably Robin would be more skilled in helping you figure out where those are in your chart if you're not sure, but that should be pretty simple. Most of the charts that you pull will tell you your house placements as well. So I want to just wrap it up just a little bit by, if I had to describe 2022, now that we are all on the same page, that we all want to do over, and February 1st is now our new year. So going into this new year of 2022, I would say that this is a year of evolution and ascension, and it's going to show up in a lot of different ways. And these energies are here to help us move into new areas of our life, but not just move into, I think a lot of us, maybe me personally, have been in that energy of just getting by. Let me just get it all to work in a way that makes sense. But now these energies, this new year is asking us to step into your true sense of power, to not just worry about how do I get from day to day, or how do I get by, or how do I get the car that I need, or pay the bill that I need, but how do I step into my true sense of power? And that could be your power to create, your power to allow more easily things into your life, or just your power to be, the truest version of yourself. That's what 2022 is going to ask you to do. It's this new, more powerful, more authentic version of yourself. How can you embody that? So we all get a do-over for this new year. What do you need to leave behind using this new moon? To leave behind what is no longer serving you so that you can more fully step into your power, set those intentions, and embrace what you want to step into for this new year and also for this new moon. So that's what I have as far as the energies. And I'm going to check real quick and see if we have any questions. Ava, basic question. We shouldn't use our natal chart. Where do we find our current chart? What is that chart called? Transit? I'm gonna let Robin answer that question. Oh, Robin already did. You can pull up a natal chart on astro.com. I'm speaking this into the recording, you all, because the people who listen to the recording won't be able to see the notes. You can pull up a natal chart on astro.com and click with transits in the upper right, and that'll show you where the current planets are in green around the outer edge of your chart. So yes, you want to look at the transit. So everything that I talked about is about the transiting planets, Saturn and Uranus's current placement in the sky and where that shows up in your house system.
That's right. So you're comparing the transiting planets to your natal chart. Correct. It's not that you're not looking at the natal chart. You put the natal chart and then you add the transits, which show you around the outer edge where the planets are in the zodiac. And so what you're trying to figure out is, where are those planets now and what house do they show up in your natal chart? And actually, in my presentation in just a couple of minutes, I'm going to pull up an actual chart and I can show you what that looks like.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of comments, and is it Dom or DOM? I'm not sure if those are initials or your name. I'm appreciating all of the comments. I just want to acknowledge that they're in there and that I am reading them. But I think that answers all of the specific questions over what I presented. And so I will turn it over to Robin now.
Give me just a moment here. Okay. I'm preparing on the fly. All right, there was a question. Dom had a question, or DOM had a question, which said, you mentioned that we're scheduling in free time. And this person asked whether it's free or rest or aware energy.
I think it could be anything you want it to be. It's that, it's whatever freedom. So when you think about the energies, we talk about Uranus representing the energy of freedom. So feel into that energy of freedom. What does that mean to you? Is it freedom of time? Is it freedom to move around? Whatever that means to you, having some structure in place that will allow you to more easily experience that freedom is how you can use these energies to work together. So freedom might be free time, or it might be a chance to nap, or it might be a chance to associate with friends if you've been feeling very closed off lately. It can be whatever freedom means to you.
Okay, and then the other question was, how much does this moon affect more the emotion or the mental or intuitive energy?
All of the above. What was the question?
Yeah, I think that's true. Because Aquarius is an air sign, which means it has a lot to do with mental activity, but the moon always brings emotion. So I think, actually you'll see that in my presentation. What we have here is a mix of emotion and our mental activities.
Awesome. All right.
Cool. All right.
Feel free to take it away, Robin.
All right, I'm gonna get started. So I'm gonna start just by quickly demoing how to pull up the transits on astro.com so that everybody knows how to do that. And I will mention that once I start sharing my screen, I can't see anybody anymore. And if I pause, we have a beautiful day here, so fingers crossed I won't have any internet interruptions. But if I pause, just wait 30 seconds, I'll come right back and Valerie will tell me where you guys lost me. And feel free to put questions in the chat. I think it's nice if you put a question in to preface it by typing in question : and then writing your question, because that way when we go back to look at the chat, it's easy to pull the questions out from like the general stream of consciousness. Although I love chat stream of consciousness. So thank you to everybody who contributes to that. All righty. And thank you, Val. That was super thorough and wonderful. And I loved your analogy of the construction site. As a reminder, I will note that Valerie and I never collaborate, and we're going to share, and you guys will be amazed, I think, at how similar, how many themes are showing up in both of what we said. Okay, can you guys see my screen here? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is a chart on astro.com. I like astro.com because it has a lot of features and it's free. You can make an account, you don't have to put in a credit card or anything. So once you've pulled up a chart on astro.com, what you want to do is, this is the chart for the day I moved into this house. So I'm not sharing anybody's, if you're a client, don't worry, this is not your chart. And then see this thing up here in the upper right that says with transits? It's a little button there. It's not like way at the top of the page. It's just right at the top of the chart. And if you just click that, you can see that right now there's nothing around the edge, the outer edge of this chart. And if you click that here, and then we pull this chart back up again, see how all these little green things have appeared around the outer edge? That's the position of the planets in the zodiac right now. And the astrological term for that is transit. So if this was a person's chart, like if this was my chart, I could see I have Aquarius, that's the double wavy lines, down here in my third house. See the little number 3? That's how we know this is the third house. I have it in my third house. Now this particular chart also has actual Saturn in the third house, but that's a coincidence here. Anyway, this is in my third house. So I would be looking for these Aquarius Saturn energies to affect my communications, trying to stabilize my communications from Val's perspective. And then I can see that Taurus, which is the little, it looks like a bull with a circle with the horns. Taurus is the bull. And there's Uranus. That's our natal Uranus, which also is a total coincidence that it happened to be. Actually, that's not a coincidence. It's because this is a pretty recent chart and Uranus hasn't moved very far. Anyway, so we would have the Uranus and Taurus here. That's in the 6th house. There's the little number 6. And that means that it's time to do some sort of change in your daily work habit or maybe your health. So anyway, that's how you would figure that out. You just pull a chart on astro.com and then click the button up here. It says with transits. And then if you want to add them, you just click with transits, and then the transits appear on the outer edge. But honestly, even if you can't figure out how to add the transits on your chart, you can just look for where you have Aquarius and the little wavy lines on your chart, and where you have Taurus, the little bull face on your chart. And that will tell you where you're stabilizing and where you're changing. All right. So I think I'm going to pick up my presentation here. And interestingly, I actually did a horoscope for you guys today based on your sun sign. So if you're having trouble following what Valerie is saying, you can use the sun sign horoscope I created, which will give you very similar information to what she demoed. Okay, so funny that Val was talking about planning, and she got that message from Saturn about how to plan for change, because the message that came to me here is, what long-term progress are you planning? And I will mention that this background here is a photo. My mother's an astronomer, and this is a photo from the inside of a telescope. And I picked it because Aquarius is a sign that's all about like using new technology and inventions to expand and make progress. It's very much about being on the cutting edge and being real, figuring out what's really going on and making progress. And so if you have any sort of like technology, scientific, like invention, you have the urge to do something new, that would be great to be doing at the moment. So tropically, we are in Aquarius. And then I'll mention this briefly, and if you want to ask more questions, you can email me later about it. But the actual star, the actual moon against the sky is not in the sign of Aquarius, because when astrology was written down 2,000 years ago, the signs aligned with the stars in the sky. But due to a wobble in the Earth's orbit, we lose 1 degree every 72 years. And now, approximately 2,000 years later, they've slipped backwards by 24 degrees. So if you went out and looked at the moon and looked at the, like if you have, if you can see it, maybe depending on where you are, or if you have one of those apps that tell you where the stars are, you'll see it's actually in the sign of Capricorn in the sky. So the Western zodiac says it corresponds to Aquarius. That's the season that we're in. And the sidereal zodiac, the actual stars in the sky, are against the background of Capricorn. And most astrologers just use one or the other, either tropical, the seasons, or sidereal, which is the actual sky. I find that the tropical chart often gives me an idea of what's going on in our inner world. And the sidereal chart often tells me a little bit about how that's going to manifest in the outer world. So we're going to look a little bit at both today. All right, so here's the chart for the new moon itself. And so you can see the new moon here, the tropical is at 12 degrees Aquarius. There's Aquarius, that's the sign of the water bearer with the double wavy lines. Here's the moon, there's the sun, that's the one that looks like a circle or a donut or Homer Simpson's eyeball. And then this glyph that looks like an H is the planet of Saturn. So this is what Valerie meant when she said that the moon and the sun were with Saturn in Aquarius. There's Saturn, there's the moon, there's the sun, there's the sign of Aquarius right here. And these little numbers here, so you can see it says 12 and 12. That means they're at 12 degrees. And then the Saturn's at 15 degrees. So it's really close. And then we're going to talk about the square to Uranus in just a moment. So once we get there, we'll deal with that. Now you can see if we subtract 24 degrees, we go back here to the sidereal at 18 degrees Capricorn, which is where it's not on the chart, but that's where it's actually going to be in the sky. And if I blow this up a bit, you can see that actually they're falling into two different areas of the sign. So the sign of Aquarius is divided into three portions. If you can see on my chart here. This is a very ancient way of kind of making it even more specific, not just the energy of Aquarius, but dialing it down to be like what aspect of Aquarius energy. And then I've also divided the signs up into terms, each of which is ruled by a different planet. And these were first written down several thousand years ago. They date before that, but it's a way of figuring out what the specific energies are of that particular spot in the zodiac. So our tropical placement in Aquarius is in the term of Venus, and it's in the decan. That's the portion of the sign that's actually associated with information Gemini energies. And for sidereal, we are in the term of Venus again. So we've got a double Venus placement, which is very positive and totally fits with Val's like do-over energy, because we've got a lot of really positive indications here in this particular one. And it is in the decan. That's the term of Capricorn that's associated with Taurus, which is that comfortable building security energy, which interestingly is where Uranus is right now. So if we use these aspects, Venus and Gemini, and then Venus and Taurus, we can get an even closer look at what we're going to be experiencing in our inner world. Now, I chose this picture here because my parents took this picture at it was like a museum of technology exhibition in the Silicon Valley, I think. Because Aquarius is all about technology and finding something new and inventing and making progress and building for things going forward, I decided we should be looking at digging into an unknown mystery, something that you're like, what can I build? How can I create something new? Just the way that a lot of inventors do. So gather information about what type of progress you think you're going to enjoy, because we have Venus. So we know this should be fun and creative and joyful. So here are some questions. What new do you want to create in your life? How can you innovate or invent to create more fun? This isn't just about making progress so that we're going to end world hunger and then we won't feel so guilty or ashamed and then our mom's going to get off our backs. That's not the right attitude to bring into this. It's much more like, what are we going to create or invent so that we can enjoy this life more? What would be fun for me to experience? How am I going to let this energy blossom into a do-over, a new version of 2022? And then the last question is, what progress will improve both yourself, but also your community? So when we think about Aquarius, we think a lot about people like Steve Jobs, or Oprah. It's like they're making progress, they're pushing the boundaries, but it's not just for themselves in their own little world. It's giving them something to share with the community. And that's a very Aquarian sort of impulse, not just for your own benefit, but also so that you can benefit others. So how's that going to manifest then in our outer world? So this is this Venus, Taurus, Capricorn thing. And I chose a picture here of climbing roses this was at a local park where I used to live, that found a tree, and they climbed like 20 feet up into this tree, these roses. So what's going to happen is you're going to create a long-term structure to solidify that progress. So in the inner world, you're thinking, what am I going to enjoy? What do I want to create? What information do I need to make that happen? And then just as Saturn said to Valerie, in the outer world, you're going to build for something that gives you solid, long-lasting comfort. Not just like, oh, I felt better because I ate a pint of ice cream and some potato chips. But like, no, okay, what are you really going to build that's going to improve the quality of your life? You're going to experience flourishing creativity and relationships. That's the Venus portion of things. And you're going to find some structure to take you higher, right? Just like these roses, you can see how they're flourishing so beautifully because they found this tree and that allowed them to stretch up towards the sun and get lots of nourishment and be protected and sheltered in the wind. What structure can you find that is going to really take your enjoyment of life higher? And I just want to do a moment of shameless promotion. If you're wondering what the heck Valerie and I are talking about when we say things like talk to Saturn, or later on, I'm going to talk about talking to the sun, then you should come to our class, which is about communing with planetary energies and doing rituals to bring planetary energies into your life. And that's on, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Val, that's February 2nd. Coming up. Hello? Did you guys lose me?
No, you're here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't
Right.
unmute. I'm trying to unmute. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, we have a class coming up. Valerie will put the link in the chat.
Yes.
Anyway, and we're going to talk about how to talk to the planets and how to get messages from them. So, all right. Anyway, does anybody have any questions so far about how these two energies are interacting?
Let me check.
Sorry, since I can't see you, I was like, oh no, did I drop my internet?
I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay, all right. So we'll move on. All right, so here are the horoscopes that I wrote for you guys. This is based on your sun sign. So whatever your sun sign is, I'm going to read them since some of you I know are on phones and it might be a little small to read. But if you're thinking, what am I going to do with these energies? What am I going to focus on with the rituals that Val and Robin are going to present? Here's some ideas. Okay. So Aries, if your sun is in Aries, here's your horoscope for what to do with these lunar and Aquarius energies. And I should mention that the lunar aspect of this energy is going to last for about 3 days, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But the rest of this, the non-lunar part, the Aquarius part, is going to be true for a couple of weeks. So this is kind of like what to be thinking about over the next couple of weeks. Okay, Aries, seek your tribe. Release groups that aren't right for you. Personal pain refines your identity. Find abundance and your inner shield mate. That's the person who fights with you and for you. Find abundance and your inner shield mate, embracing your inner unknown. So if you've got an interesting thing going on inside your ears and you're not sure what the messages mean, embrace that and work through that. Taurus, what needs to stay on your career path and what needs to go? Prepare for sudden change and life lessons regarding ego and identity. Gemini, if you have a Gemini sun, time to expand your boundaries and learn something new. Release old quote unquote lessons, like things you learned but aren't really true for you anymore. Embrace isolation by doubling down on your shadow work. Cancer sun, free yourself from past shackles and heal old trauma, dissolving what doesn't serve you. Boost your relationships. Leo sun, don't cling to old ideas or habits regarding your ideal partner. Analyze intimate relationships to identify growth opportunities. Don't get too busy at work. And I should mention, by the way, that these first sentences are all where Saturn is impacting you in your life. The first sentence of these is the Saturn portion of this horoscope. Okay, Virgo sun, that's me. Time for a new daily routine. Harness fun, joy, and creativity to enhance your one-on-one connection. Make a solid plan for how you'll enjoy yourself more. Libra sun, uncover your inner joy machine by linking creativity to progress. Use your power to strengthen home and family foundation. Individuate from relationship pain. So individually, I was trying to think of a word that would fit into this space, but it basically means like, if you're feeling pain in your relationships, use that to become more individual yourself, right? So you're not always depending on others for love. Use that to figure out what you're looking for in a relationship and who you want to be, so that you can free others to be who they want to be and they don't always have to support you. Okay, Scorpio sun. Change old patterns in your family interactions. Make progress with those you love the most. Enjoy nature with a close friend or lover. Sagittarius sun. Seize your moment with a new communication style. Different thoughts will lead to new actions. Revamp daily habits for greater comfort and security. That's the Uranus spot there. Okay, Capricorn sun. Release possessions or material attachments that hold you back. Get solid about who you are in the world and communicate that to increase your abundance. Aquarius sun. Identity growth is in the works. Clean out negative self-talk and create a strong inner foundation. Have fun doing edgy stuff by yourself. If you have an Aquarius sun, this is a time when you may be all alone doing your like outdoor mime routine, but just go and do your thing. And don't worry if other people think it's weird, because they're going to catch up and soon people will think that your stuff is cool. But right now you're by yourself there. Okay, and then a Pisces sun. Escape from your rut and tame your inner world, making the progress you long for on the inside. Find your power by sharing your truth with a trusted group. All right. Does anybody have any questions about these? Or I know it went by kind of fast. Does anybody need me to repeat theirs?
No, I'm not seeing any questions.
Okay. And feel free to take a screenshot of this if you want. But if you share it, please credit it to me, Robin Poole, and you can put my website, spiritsaid.com. I should have put that on here. Okay. All right. So if we look at the actual chart itself, as we saw before, we can see that we've got this conjunction with Saturn. So Saturn in the modern astrology, as Val said, is about building things and providing structure. But the ancients thought of Saturn as the god of death. And so it also has this part, exactly as Valerie said, where you're also releasing things. And I even put, as you remember, Valerie, you mentioned construction site. I even put deconstruction on this. There's also sort of, people can get stuck in a poverty consciousness of like, I don't have enough, I keep losing things, everybody leaves me. But it has the connotation of also mending and redemption, bringing back things that were lost. And so as we're thinking what we want to build here, we've got to make sure we don't get stuck into the, but everything I build dissolves, or, but I never can build anything. Because it may be that it's time to bring back something that you let go of. Maybe as a kid, you were really joyful and excited about your spiritual connection, but then somebody rained on your parade and adults told you that that was weird or inappropriate. But by the way, that's personal example. Now might be time to bring that back. So let Saturn help you figure out what you really want hanging around for the long term. But also know that Saturn also often brings external limitations, like people stand in your way or people tell you it's a bad idea or there's red tape. And so you really need to be prepared to overcome those obstacles here, because sometimes the universe allows those obstacles to come in so that you can see how much you really want it. Like, don't just see an obstacle and then back off. Expect to have to push through this, just the way that construction, to use Val's analogy, is hard, sweaty work. Right? And if you've ever been on a construction site, there's always delays and difficulties, and the pipe breaks or the tile doesn't set. You gotta have the energy to push through that here to create this progress that you're longing for. And then this Uranus square. Now the square is a 90-degree angle, and on astro.com it shows up as these kind of short red lines here. It means these two planets are roughly 90 degrees apart in the zodiac, and that's a challenging relationship. I think of it like a fender bender kind of. It means often that your progress isn't really smooth and there's obstacles to overcome or difficulties, or you have to reroute or something like that. But it's really an opportunity for creative problem solving. This square with Uranus up in Taurus, Uranus, as I said, has to do with innovation, technology, sudden change. And so that means that as you're trying to make changes and figuring out this progress that you want to go, this progress that you want to build, don't expect it all to be smooth. It's very likely that, suddenly things may change. Now, this means this is a great time to change. But it also means that you're really going to have to roll up your muscles and figure out how to make it happen. And then also in Taurus here, we have the asteroid Ceres. That's this thing that looks like a hook shape here, like a sickle. And that's our natural connection, our connection to nature spirits. If you like to go for a walk, if you like to play with your pets and connect with animal energy. And also the moon's north node, which is this upside down horseshoe. And that has to do with life lessons and things you're getting better at in the world. So you may find that as you try to create this progress, you're like, wow, I'm not very good at this. This isn't something I've done before. This is kind of new. And just be gentle with yourself, because this is an area of increasing mastery for you, something you're going to be getting better at as you go. And you can probably help yourself by getting out in nature, eating herbs or drinking teas, going for a nature walk, standing out and feeling the sun on your face, connecting with nature spirits. All of those are going to be able to support you in the change that you're trying to make and in overcoming those obstacles that are going to be coming up because of the way that the planets are in the sky here. Okay, any questions on this so far, Val?
There was a question that I'm just going to have you confirm. I think I answered correctly on the past chart, the one where you were talking about sun signs.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a person's zodiac sign, their natal sign, right?
Their natal sun. Yep. So if you say, oh, I'm a Cancer, oh, I'm a Gemini, because that's where your sun was, that's where these horoscopes came from.
Cool.
Yep. So this is really telling you like where the astrological energy is affecting you. So for example, this Aquarius energy, if you have an Aries sun, the Aquarius energy is affecting you in your groups. If you have a Taurus sun, this Aquarius energy is affecting you on your career, like that sort of thing. So that's what I did, is I just tried to make it into words so that everybody could say, where is this going to show up in my life? I like writing horoscopes. I had a good time doing that. Okay, so here's the chart that we have. This is my final chart for this part of the presentation. So this is telling us where these energies are showing up sort of in the different elements. And what we have here is, you can see I've got my air, earth, fire, and water. And what we have is a lot of planets in earth signs. That's why this green triangle down here, this green wedge is really big. We've got a bunch of planets in Capricorn, which we haven't even talked about today. And then we also have these three things in Taurus. Now I add some extra asteroids that I think are important. So that may be why you're seeing more than you normally see on this. We've got a lot of earth energy here. And we have a good bit of air energy, which is because we have the moon and the sun and Saturn here in Aquarius. And also our moon is an air energy. And then there's a little bit of water and not very much fire. And so if we're looking at this, basically what I did is I just labeled each of these quadrants. So the air water quadrant, I labeled inspired feeling. The water earth quadrant is practical feeling. The earth fire quadrant is practical action. And then the air earth quadrant is inspired action. So that's how these energies are working together. And what you can see here is that we have a lot of energy in these two quadrants, the practical feeling and the inspired feeling. So for practical feeling, I wrote disruption. That's that change energy we've been talking about. Disruption creates the need for new plans and structures. Release your old attachments and conditioning, mend what's broken, and revive what you've discarded that you feel like is useful. Bring back that stuff that you got rid of for some reason because it didn't seem to fit or somebody said something negative, and bring that back if that seems like that would really be nurturing for you. And then for inspired feeling, I have inspiration and analysis creates a vision for what feels better. Don't be afraid to be out on the cutting edge and fighting for your vision. So change is definitely coming, but we're still a little bit in the planning phase of it. You know, Aquarius is an air sign, so we're analyzing what's working and what's not. We're asking for inspiration. And we're thinking, how are we going to implement that in the real world? But we're not quite to the part yet where we like revamp everything in our lives. This is more of that, let's really feel into what kind of change we're looking for, what progress feels right for us. Let's get inspired by our vision. And as we solidify that foundation, that's going to really help us to create something that will last. Because a lot of times we get all fired up and excited, and then we just change everything without actually thinking beforehand, what do I really want? What's really going to work for me? What's going to create the life I'm looking for? And then whatever we're creating just kind of falls apart, or it doesn't last, or we hit an obstacle and give up because it was never what we wanted really in the first place. So this Aquarius is really like the reason like Steve Jobs is so successful is that he doesn't just dive into a new product because he had a dream, right? He has a dream and then he goes and thinks. I don't know if he dreams. That's a random thing. But the point is, once he gets inspired, he then does research. He figures it out. He comes up with a plan so that once the product comes to market, it can be super successful. All right. Anybody want to ask anything? You can tell me if this is resonating with you guys. How are you feeling about the energies, or are you seeing this manifest in your life already? This is very much describing what's been happening with me. I tend to jump into creating too fast because I get nervous about creating. So I just want to do it and get it over with. And my spirit guide is really telling me to spend a lot of time planning before I make my next thing. Okay, thoughts or questions?
Loving this. I'm not seeing any questions. I love it.
Great. All right. I guess I will give it back to you, Val.
We did get some comments that said absolutely
asteroid.
resonating.
Yay.
Definitely resonating. I love it.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good.
Excuse me.
On to rituals.
On to rituals.
Yay. I love
Hopefully
rituals.
my voice will last. Excuse me. Okay. So this ritual that I've prepared is a mini version. I want to start by saying that we're going to spend just a little bit of time doing each of these, but I strongly encourage you, if you enjoy this ritual, decide to go forward, to expand it. There's a manifestation. There's a meditation portion to it that is really short and sweet. If you do this on your own, go ahead and expand that meditation and actually spend some time in meditation with these energies. And then once we get into what the actual ritual is, you'll see. But this ritual is most effective. For maximum effect, please repeat daily. No, please repeat more than once. Repeat between whenever it feels right between now and the next phase. So, yes, this video, just a question in chat. The recording of this video will be posted on YouTube, and I will drop the YouTube link once it's all saved and uploaded in the comments on the event page, so you all can find the recording. All right, so with that being said, one moment, we have a question before we move on. What should we do with the prayers and extra nurturing energy we write down to send out to others? Oh, that we wrote down to send out to others during the last full moon. Ava, is that a question from the ritual that was shared under the last full moon? Because I think that's going to be for Robin.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what that is.
Awesome. Yep, she said yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it,
So
Robin.
the thing is, so for those of you who weren't here last full moon, we did a ritual about finding nurture. It was a Cancer moon, so we were using nurturing Cancer energies. We chose a person and we sent out energies to them. So now we're on to the next moon, so you can do a new ritual. So what I plan to do with that, you might remember that the old ritual, it included a little piece of paper that had the person's name on it. So, and what I wanted, what the energy we were sending for them. So what I'm going to do is take apart my altar, because I'm going to replace it now with this next one. But I'm going to take that piece of paper and tape it up, or in my case, I'm going to put it on my refrigerator with a magnet, so that I can continually be reminded to send out the positive energies to that person, because I don't want to stop just because the moon has stopped. I also am going to contact that person and ask how she's been doing and let her know that I've been sending these positive energies. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the moon at this ritual to please continue sending those positive energies to that person while I switch my focus to whatever this ritual is, which I'll share in a couple minutes. You'll see what my next ritual is sort of be. So it's kind of like I'm going to take that ritual and put it up somewhere to remind me so I don't forget about it, and I can charge it periodically. But I'm going to trust the moon to like give it a little push, send it out to sea, let the natural energies take it away, so that I can then change my focus to the next thing I'm trying to work on with this ritual. That's my plan. But you can also connect with your intuition or pull a tarot card or two and see if there's a different direction that you want to take it.
I love that. Thank you. Just making sure. Yes. We got to thank you in the chat. So I think we answered that question sufficiently. Thank you so much, Robin. Okay, so let's get settled in. As I mentioned, that's part of the ritual. We're going to go through it, but once we've gone through it once, it's something that you can definitely repeat on the night of the new moon and then thereafter as well. So I want you to get settled in. We're going to do a very, very, very brief meditation. So get comfortable in your space, close your eyes, open your eyes, whatever feels comfortable for you. I want you to start by taking a nice deep breath. Deep breath in, hold it at the top just a little bit, and then slowly release that breath. So you can set the idea that as you breathe in, you're breathing in positive energy. And as you breathe out, you let go of anything that doesn't serve you in this current moment. But what I want you to also recognize and realize that as you breathe slowly, you're sending the signal to your body that it's okay to relax and that you are safe. So continue to breathe deeply and slowly in this space. And I want you to imagine yourself in a nice, secure, safe place. This energy surrounding you has made this a nice, private space for you. A place where you can freely share your thoughts with the divine, with no judgment, with only an openness, a willingness to listen to your thoughts. And with the understanding that these thoughts are yours, and they don't need to be shared with anyone outside of this space, this sacred space that you are creating for yourself right now. Continue breathing deeply. And I want you to settle into space, this cocoon, if you will, that you've created. It's calm here. It's peaceful. It's quiet. You can really be alone with your thoughts. Look within your thoughts in this conversation that you're about to have with you and the divine. And I want you to take a moment, just a few moments, to share with the divine what your biggest dream and wish for yourself is. Now, some of you were able to express that dream, that goal, that wish in just a word or two. Some of you expressed it in a way that you want to feel or be. And some of you got very detailed about it as you shared with the divine what you want for yourself in this life right now. All of that is okay. And the divine's answer to you is absolutely yes. This is something that you can have as soon as you're ready to allow it into your life. After receiving that absolutely yes answer, how do you feel about this wish, this dream? How do you feel about knowing that as far as the divine is concerned, it's done? It is accomplished. In this quiet space, this thing that you want already exists. It's done. The divine is letting you know that anytime you want to feel that completeness of this goal, of this dream, you can visit with them in this non-physical energy, in this non-physical space. They actually encourage you to come back and visit with them. But for now, you're going to need to return to your physical world where it has not yet manifested. The only gift that the divine can give with you to take back into this physical manifested world is the feeling that you were able to accomplish while you were with them. That feeling, how you would feel when it was done. See if you can capture that feeling and bring it back with you. I want you to continue to breathe deeply as you come back to your physical space, as much as that feeling as you can bring back into your physical surroundings. Take another deep breath, open your eyes, come back to the room, wiggle around. Now I want you to grab that paper and pencil and write down what that biggest goal, that biggest dream, that hope and wish for yourself was. Now I want you to think for just a moment what that felt like when the divine told you that it was done. What would the feeling, just think about it, what would it feel like if you got everything that you wished for, everything that you hoped for, your biggest dream? If I woke up tomorrow morning and Idris was laying next to me, if I could put that feeling in one word, what would that word be? And when you come up with that word that describes, just one word that describes that feeling of having accomplished it, I want you to write that word in the center of your paper and draw a circle around it. Everybody got a word, a feeling right in the middle of your paper, big circle around it. Now, outside of that circle, so maybe I would feel excited if I woke up in the morning and Idris was laying next to me, among other things. I would feel excited. So maybe I write excited down in the middle of my paper and I draw a big circle around it. Now, I want you to write down everything else that's ever happened to you in your life that made you feel excited. This is like a brainstorm kind of session, a personal brainstorm session, a brain dump. And I want you to spend about 2 minutes doing this. See how many things you can write down on that paper outside of that word that have ever made you feel excited in your life. And as you write down each one of these things, you might write down occurrences, you might write down 1 or 2 words that describe what made you feel excited or what you're still excited about in your current life. I want you to spend just a couple of seconds as you write them down, actually remembering that moment in your life or remembering what brought you that excitement. You might also want to write down any feelings that you felt that might be similar to excitement, like happiness or joy, if that comes to mind. If not, just stick with the experiences. But go ahead and fill your paper and keep writing. Probably have about
Can I ask a question?
Minute left. Go ahead.
Are we picking one experience that made us excited and writing down all about that one?
Nope, you're writing anything in your life that brought you excitement, if excitement was your word. Any and everything. Whatever your word is, anytime that you felt that feeling, that emotion. Give you just a little bit more time. Hopefully you're filling your paper up. Okay. If you need to keep going, keep going. But I want you to look at your paper right now, whatever that feeling is that you wrote in the middle, and all of the times that you felt that feeling before. And during this process, as you focused your mind and your intentions and your ideas and your thoughts on this feeling, on what it felt like, and then all of the times that you felt it before, congratulations, everybody. You have achieved a vibrational match to that which you have asked for. So let me explain a little bit about how this manifestation exercise works and why we would want to do it on the new moon, because the new moon is when we set our intentions. And then we hope that by working with the energies in the moon, that our intentions come to fruition and actually manifest into something in this real world. So working with the moon is oftentimes about manifesting. And this is an excellent exercise to bring those manifesting powers into a real sense. So how do we manifest things? We tell our brain that it's so. We tell our brain that this is the way it is, that it's done. And once our brain can reach that vibrational set point of knowing that it's done, then the universe has to answer. And then we see those manifestations in our real world. So when we're able to raise ourselves to the vibrational level of that which we want to experience, the universe has to come in and manifest it in a real sense, in a real world. That's a little bit of law of attraction manifesting one-on-one, very simplified version. There's more to it than that, but very simplified version. So as we seek about manifesting or trying to manifest the things that we want, or the people that we want, or the experiences that we want, one of the best tools that we can use to actually manifest it and not just work at it, but to actually have it in our life where we can see it and feel it and taste it and kiss it, in my case. To have that real life manifested thing is we have to reach the vibration of that thing that we're asking for. And the trick, the key, the cheat code to manifesting is we don't have to reach that vibration while we think about the thing. We can reach that vibration by thinking about anything that is of the same vibration. So if every time I think about Idris, I think to myself, he's married, I'm not going to ever have Idris, then I can't get there from where I'm at. But if I think about Idris is excitement, where's excitement at in my life? Oh, I get excited when I go to Hobby Lobby. I get excited when I drive a little bit over the speed limit. I get excited by a lot of things in my life. And now I'm thinking about excitement. And if I'm thinking about it long enough, all of a sudden I'm in the vibration of excitement. And guess what? Everything that's a match to excitement, including Idris, is going to come into my life. Yeah, I'm not really expecting the real Idris to show up, but I am expecting a close facsimile of Idris to show up at some point in my life. So that's how you work with the manifesting powers. If you try to hone in on what would it feel like, you don't have to feel that way about what you're currently struggling with. You can feel that way about anything, raise your vibration to that level, and then wait for the universe to swoop in and show you everything that is a match to that vibration. So you can use this exercise as you set your intentions with the moon. So go through this exercise hopefully on your own, spending a little bit longer time in meditation so you can really get into what is it my soul, what is it I'm asking for outside of the parameters of what I think I should ask for, what is it I'm really asking for. Go into meditation, call on your guides, spend a little bit more time figuring that out, figuring out the feeling place of it, and then do this exercise in written form. You can do it mentally too if you don't have time, if you're just going throughout your day. I do it sometimes when I'm driving, when I'm thinking about, why isn't this thing I want working out? Oh, let me shift my attention and just think of everything else that makes me feel that same way. You can do it mentally, but it works really well when you have it on paper where you can see it, where you can see that spirit, that source, that the divine, that this universe is already giving you what you've asked for, because all of these things are the same energy. Universe works in energy, not in purple Ferraris and Idris Elba. The universe looks down and all they see is these light, like a light bright. Y'all remember light brights from back in the 80s? That's how the universe sees things. Oh, there's that group of red over there. I don't know what the humans are doing with the red, but I see that all of that red is of the same energy. And let me add some more red to that. That's what the universe says. So when it sees you, lit up with excitement, then the universe says, oh, let me add some more excitement into that. The universe doesn't care if your excitement is Idris or the red Ferrari. It doesn't care. It's all the same. So all we need to do is realize that if it's all the same to the universe, I can get excited about anything and open the doorway for that one thing that I've been asking for to come through. So hopefully that'll help you. Please repeat this as necessary. The only caveat I have to how many times you should repeat this is only do it if this exercise feels like fun. If it feels like, damn it, I did not get that $1,000 check in the mail, I'm going to sit down and do that fucking exercise that Valerie told me to do, and then run, and I wanted it, and I said I want it. It's not going to work. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to work. It's the wrong energy because you're focused on what hasn't shown up yet. If you sit down and you're excited about it and it feels like a fun exercise to do it then. If you sit down and you're frustrated and you start to do it and it doesn't feel right, don't do it. You're re-emphasizing the wrong thing. You're going to manifest something you don't want. Step away from it. So hopefully that'll help you not just work with these new moons, but we're working with these energies so that we can create our life and manifest what we want. Hopefully this exercise will help you with some of that manifesting. And that's all I have to say. That's my ritual. Repeat as necessary.
You got a couple of really positive responses in the chat. Jay Fitzgerald said, Val, open the water works with that meditation.
Oh.
And then I started crying. I'm like, that's so nice. That's so wonderful. That's why we do these things. I know, that's sweet. Okay.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Okay. All right. Well, I have maybe the ritual that I said, I think it's gonna piggyback on this, because maybe it will help you figure out what is standing your way and work through an obstacle to this great dream. I want to mention, by the way, that I've started a YouTube channel, and I'll put the link in the chat. This is Robin's YouTube tutorials. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to make a tutorial of how to add transits to your chart, that thing that I demoed. And I will record that. They're 5-minute astrology tutorials, because I can only record 5-minute videos at this point. And they're 5-minute astrology tutorials on how to use astro.com to create the chart that you're looking for. So I'll put that up. It'll be up by tomorrow. It's not up right now, although there are a couple of other ones. But if you want to subscribe, then you'll get a notification every time I put up an astro.com tutorial. There's the link in the chat to that. Okay, so on to my rituals. There's just one ritual. So this ritual is inspired by a conversation. Oh, there's my YouTube channel right there. Let's go back to the slides here. So this was inspired by a conversation I had with one of my spirit guides. And he said to me, I was talking to him, and he said to me, he was like, you know, Robin, 1/3 of what your parents teach you is total garbage. And I was pretty surprised, because my spirit guides are normally very like loving and respectful. And so I know when they decide that to say something really like kind of harsh like that, it's total garbage, they're trying to get my attention. And I was like, really? Are you sure? And he kept going, and he was like, yeah, you know, 1/3 of what they give you is great. Like it's good wisdom, you know, it's useful. Don't get hit by a bus. Don't interrupt other people when they're talking to you. Like that's good survival knowledge. And that's the keep pile. And 1/3 of what they give you is like a good start, but you kind of have to change it or make some adjustments to make it fit for you. And then 1/3 is just total garbage. It's not good for you. It's terrible advice. It comes from their trauma. It worked for them, but it doesn't fit your energies, whatever it is. And I was like, so it's like keep, tweak, or toss. And that turned into kind of a mantra for me, which has really helped me make some transformation in the world. And I decided that because Aquarius is so much about progress and transformation, I would give a keep, tweak, or toss ritual. So the keep is, I like this, I want more of it, I want it to stay the way it is. Tweak is, this is a good start, but I want to make it different. I want it to manifest a little bit differently for me. And toss is, I want to get rid of this. This is not something I want in my life. So the first step to this ritual is to choose your dilemma. Pick something in your life where maybe you're not sure if I should keep it, if I should tweak it, if I should toss it. What do I want to do with this? Is this energy? Is this habit? Is this practice? Is this way I interact with people? Is this something I should hold on to, or I should adjust, or I should just get rid of it? And as a reminder, this little list, this is the area where this Aquarius energy is hitting you by your sun sign. So if you have an Aries sun, you might think about picking a dilemma that has to do with how you interact with groups. If you're a Taurus sun, you might pick a dilemma that's about your career. Gemini, about learning and travel. Cancer sun, some sort of shadow or taboo work. Leo, relationships. Virgo, daily life and work. Libra sun, something about your fun and creativity. Scorpio, home and family. Sagittarius, communication. Capricorn, something about like your material world, that could be possessions or how you've organized where you live, or your diet, maybe what you do with food. Aquarius, your identity, who you are as an individual. And Pisces, something about your inner world. It could be inner fears, or your relationship with your spirit guides, or prayer or meditation, or spirituality, that kind of thing. And then what we're going to do is deal 3 cards. Now, I chose tarot cards. You could pick oracle cards if you wanted to, or you could just pick random objects, whatever it is that is divinatory for you. But I put 3 tarot cards. And what's going to happen is that the left tarot card will represent what will happen if I keep this. The middle tarot card is what will happen if I tweak it, if I retain it, but I make some small changes to make it better for myself. And then the card on the right is the toss card. What will happen if I get rid of this? So what you want to do then, and this is on the day of the full moon, although you can do it the day before or after, it's much more important to actually do it than it's just stress about getting the exact right moment. What you want to do is, put yourself in a quiet place as near to the full moon as works for your schedule. Bring those divinatory energies into your body. Ask the moon for support and guidance. Ask Saturn to help you understand what will happen if you keep it, if you tweak it, or if you toss. And then deal out your cards. Now, what I did here is I chose what to do with my fear about business. So I'm doing some new things in my business, which I'm going to unveil hopefully at our next event. We'll talk about them. But part of me is like, it's not safe. What if this goes wrong? And I had this little part of me that was like, people don't like it when you talk about your beliefs. And I was like, they don't? And she's like, yeah, they put you in a cart and take you away to the stockade. And I'm like, okay, I know that's a past life memory because people don't use carts and put criminals in stockades anymore. So some part of me from a past life is worried about what will happen if I'm public about what I believe. But so I'm like, okay, I really would like to get rid of this fear, but part of me is scared, of course, to do that. So I set up my altar. I chose a black scarf here because Saturn's associated with black. And then I like these circles because they looked kind of like moons. And I got a sand dollar to represent the moon. And I have some selenite around the edge to bring in the lunar energy. And I've got a piece of black tourmaline and then a bracelet with some Saturn stones. This is snowflake obsidian and black agate. Saturn is always associated with any sort of black stone. And then this is a model of a dinosaur skeleton that I got from my niece and nephew. Because Saturn is associated with endings and with death, I decided a dinosaur skeleton was good energy for this. And then you can't really see it here, but this is a little squirrel carved out of some sort of dark, I don't even know what that is, but some sort of dark jasper or something like that. So that was my altar setup. And then I've got these 3 cards. And when I turned the cards over, I got the 7 of Pentacles reversed. That was my keep. The 7 of Wands. That was my tweak, and my toss was the 5 of Pentacles. So I was like, wow, what does this mean to me? And what I decided was that if I kept it, because this is the 7 of Pentacles reversed, I decided that meant I wasn't going to get any rest. The 7 of Pentacles is that moment where you rest from your work and contemplate what you're doing. And I thought that meant that I wouldn't feel rested and at peace, and I might have trouble thinking clearly about things. 7 of Wands, that's the tweak card. I decided that meant that I would always be fighting something off, maybe the fear itself, I would always be fighting. And the toss for the 5 of Pentacles, that didn't look so positive, but I think about the 5 of Pentacles as like having to look for new resources. In other words, instead of saying, well, I'm going to build my business and try not to, I'm going to be afraid of building my business and that's how I'm going to guide my actions. I need to find something new to base my actions on. I need to go into that church. I need to find those resources and find a better, more positive way of thinking. So I decided to go with the toss approach. And what I did then is I left the little squirrel overnight to absorb the toss energy. So overnight on the card, I left the squirrel. That's going to absorb all of those fears for me. And then the next morning, which was this morning, I put the squirrel out along with some bird seed on my back deck. This is shelled bird seed, so it doesn't leave any mess. The birds eat all of it. And because this was Aquarius, I really wanted to pick an air way, an air symbol, an air sign for getting rid of these energies. And so I put the squirrel out there. And what I said to the birds is, when you peck this energy, I want you to take my fear with me. I want the disappearance of the bird seed, when you eat the bird seed and fly away, to be symbolic of me releasing all of my fears out into the world. And every morning I get up and I put out bird seed for the birds. And I say, this is an offering to honor the spirits of the land, the spirits of the home, my ancestors, and my higher self. Please take my prayers out into the world and help them come true. And so I'm just backpacking onto that ritual I do every morning to ask, okay, and now I'm going to have my fears be taken away, just like this birdseed. And you, whatever you pick, can decide what your own ritual is if you decide to go with a keep or a tweak option. If you're going to keep something, maybe you wrap up your object and put it in your closet, or you put it in a place, you know, that you really love and cherish, or you put it on your altar to keep. If it's a tweak, maybe you write it down as it is, and then you write on the piece of paper all the ways you'd like it to be different. And then you're like, okay, here's my change. And then once you've made those changes, you tear that up and throw it away or burn it or something like that. So the question is, what action for you is going to represent whether you decided to keep it, you decided to tweak it, or you decided to toss it? And that's my ritual. And then here's my contact information, Robin@PoolMX, my website, Spirit Said, and then my Instagram, which is Spirit Said Life. All right. Any thoughts or questions? How does this sit with you guys?
I love it. You know I love it. Tarot and a spread, you know I love it.
All right, that's good. Please.
Any other comments? Not seeing any comments or questions.
Any questions?
Okay.
Yeah.
We did get Sky saying that this could sounds like a game, keep, tweak, or toss. And I agree. I think you should totally make it into a board or a card game, a metaphysical board card game.
Yeah. I got to say that actually, I don't just do rituals with this. I use this all the time when some sort of like conditioning comes up, like I'm doing something and then I hear a voice in my head and I'm like, oh, wait, that sounds like my dad, or that sounds like my 5th grade teacher. Or like, you know, there's some part of me that's like, this is weird. And I'm like, why is this weird? And the voice is like, everybody says so. And that's like a society conditioning when you're like, I don't know who everybody is, but somehow I've gotten the message like the earth is dying. You just hear that all over the place. And I think a lot, okay, should I keep this? Should I tweak it? Or should I toss it? And it's very empowering because it's like, you're not beholden to believe any of the things that anybody ever says to you. Like at one point I was like, well, my dad always used to say such and such and that. And then a voice inside my head said, the problem isn't that your dad always used to say that. It's that you believed him. Your 5-year-old self believed what he said. But now your 49-year-old self, being an adult with a fully formed brain, can decide if she still wants to believe that or not. And so keep, tweak, or toss, the whole paradigm really empowers you to make your own fully adult and informed decisions about whether you want to use what people say or whether that's helpful for you or whether you just want to get rid of it because it's not how you want to think or feel. So go forth and keep, tweak, or toss for progress.
Love it. We do have a question. A question, Sky, I'm going to come back to you. How do we decide on the theme again? I think that was the first slide you showed.
Yeah. So first of all, I would go with your intuition. If something comes up in your mind and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do this with my relationship with my mom. Now, I'm not saying you should toss your mom, but you might toss the way you interact with your mom and decide you're going to interact differently, you know, or like, oh my gosh, this is that thing at work I can't make a decision about. So if your intuition brings up something, then I would go with that. But if you're kind of like, I'm not sure, I don't really know what it is, or you're thinking, well, I really want to use this particular lunar energy. I don't want to just pick any random thing I could do any time of year. But what works with this lunar energy? Then you can go through this list and pick out your sun sign here, your zodiac sign, people often say, and then see if your intuition will come up with something that's in one of these categories. But I got to say that people's intuition works at a different rate of speed. So it's no problem if right now you're thinking, I have no idea what to choose. You can take a screenshot of this. You can go think about it. The moon isn't for a couple days. You got plenty of time to figure it out. Maybe you'll have a dream. You can go to sleep tonight and ask, please, in my dream, I would like an indication of what dilemma I should choose. So be patient with yourself if your inner process is that it's taking you a longer time to come up with something. No need to decide right away.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sky, I'm a little confused. Was that a question that you had for Robin? And if so, you should be able to unmute yourself and ask.
No, that's something my dad said.
Okay.
I'm kind of confused. And he's like, oh, I was talking to you, not to the group. So I was like, oh, okay, Dad. He's like, I don't want to interrupt the meeting. So.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Aggie said that she hopes this helps with her shoes situation. Was there a
Great.
keep, tweak, or toss? Oh, awesome. Do you have a lot of shoes? I take it. That's what I'm gathering from it.
It's super helpful. That's partly why I wanted to do it for this ritual. It fits Aquarius energy, but it's like so practical. Like you can do this when you're cleaning out your refrigerator. You know, do I want to keep this? Do I need to tweak it and make it into something? Or is this a toss? It's great for cleaning out your closet.
It's a great tarot spread, especially for those of you who love 3-card spreads. I love 3-card spreads because it gives you just enough meat to work with, especially when you need something quick. So I love that you turned it into a tarot spread.
Oh, thank you.
And,
yeah.
Awesome.
Helpful and
all right, so let's open it up. Excuse me. I apologize for all the coughing. We still have a little bit of time left. We're going to save some time at the end so we can talk about our next event. But I want to open it up to see if we have any questions or even just comments about anything that we presented today. Just give you a couple of moments. How do we decide on the, let's see. Anna said 3 cards is her favorite as well. Look at you inspiring all the tarot readers. I love it.
Oh, I'm so inspired by you guys. My I have these things where it's like it's not safe to say what you believe and whatever. And I was talking to the sun about clarity because somebody advised me to speak to the sun if I needed clarity. And I'm like, what can I do to stop all of this? Like, it's not safe to say what you believe. And what he said is, he's like, you know, those are past lives when people got burned for being witches, you know, and the Spanish Inquisition made it not safe to practice what you thought, and you couldn't step outside the spirituality of your tribe because then you would get kicked out of your tribe. And he's like, you need to look at the reactions that people are giving you now when you share about what you believe. And I just thought of you guys. I thought of these events and I thought of you guys, and I'm like, this is evidence that it is safe. You know, not everywhere. Maybe if you work at a bank or a super conservative environment, you might not want to bring your pentagram in to your desk, right? You know, that's different. But if you find the right group and you find the right environment, we live in a world where it is safe to be open about what you practice and what you believe. And I just want to let you know that Spirit is using this group to show me that and to help me heal. And I hope that you guys, if you have any of those sorts of, you know, fears on the inside, that will help you as well.
Awesome. I love
that. Thank you, Ava. That's so sweet.
Well, if we don't have any questions, well, let's get into it. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up. Of course, our next moon celebration, if those of you who are currently participating in the moon celebration. Yes. In 2 weeks, we're doing it again. And that's already on the calendar. So please go take a look at our meetup calendar and sign up for that. But we're going to talk about the natal chart because so many of you are very much into astrology and figuring this stuff out for yourself and your own natal chart. And I'm going to first I'm going to say we have a 3-part, did we decide 3 or 4? 3-part series on troubleshooting your natal part. Oh Lord, let me get my words together. Mercury in retrograde. Please get yourself direct. Get yourself right so I can get myself right. A 3-part series on troubleshooting your natal chart. The first part happened 2 weeks ago, and I'm putting the link to that so that you can watch it and get up to speed. It was about how you can find challenging aspects in your own natal chart, planets that might not work together nicely, that might be in opposition to each other, that might be in a challenging aspect, which I'm not going to go into explaining because I am dropping the link to that event so that you can watch it. But I'm going to turn it over to Robin so that she can explain part 2 in the series, which is coming up this next weekend, y'all. Next weekend. I'm gonna get my words together, but not today. Next weekend. Go ahead, Robin. Explain it.
Okay. So at the last event, which Valerie's going to put the link in so you guys can go watch it, which you should if you want to use that information. We talked about ways to identify which planets are not expressing themselves smoothly. And what I found is that this is often the answer to why do I have trouble with relationships? Why can't I create something at work? Why do I have trouble setting boundaries? Other people do this so easily, but for me, it's such and such. And often it's not you, it's that there's some planet in your chart that doesn't express its energies smoothly and easily. And this is a free will moment, which is where you're like, okay, I'm not naturally great at relationships, or I'm not naturally very good at setting boundaries, but I can choose to get better at that. And figuring out which planet it is, and then learning to work with that planetary energies is a big part of actually making the transition from I'm not good at, this is a trouble spot to me, to I'll be darned, wow, I'm a lot better at this now. Oh, this is all flowing so much more smoothly. And so at the last event, we talked about how to figure out which planets could use some assistance. And then at this next event, we're going to start talking about what to do about it. So we've got 2 more sessions coming up, and this one is going to talk about rituals that you can do to bring in the planetary energy to your life. And then that's Val, she's going to do rituals. And then I'm going to present about how to commune with the planetary energies. So when we say, oh, I talked to Saturn, or ask Mercury what to do, or the sun told me such and such. How do you actually find that out, And not everybody's going to hear a voice the way I do. You might get signs, you might have people in your life who are giving you input, but you can bring those planetary energies into your life. And I got to say, this was a total game changer for me. I was like a refugee from the Western medical system. No doctors could figure out what was wrong with me. I wasn't anemic, even though I've been tested for anemia like 10,000 times. It wasn't any of those things, but that's because Western doctors don't deal with planetary energies. So once I started bringing the planetary energies into my life, I started to heal. I started to have less pain. I was less traumatic, less traumatized, like all the things that didn't work in my life started to get smoother. So we're going to basically give some practicals for how you can actually bring those energies into your life and into your body. If you're one of these people who doesn't feel safe, or you have panic attacks, or you wake up in pain, or you have trouble breathing or eating or whatever it is. So that's what we're going to be talking about, how to actually get those planetary energies in your life to heal, to grow. And then the one after that is going to be about actions you can take in the real world, and also jewelry and crystals for planets. So, but this upcoming one, this Saturday, is about rituals and bringing planetary energies into your life and body.
Excellent. And I want to add on to this one coming up for next Saturday. You will get a presentation. You don't have to, it's a free event. Within the presentation, for instance, the rituals that I'm giving are going to be something that you can template. It's more like a template that you can tweak and use for yourself. And the same with what Robin is presenting. It's going to apply for everyone. You're going to be able to walk away with that information on how to work with it. However, bonus time, you have the chance to, for only $15, get mini readings from the both of us. And this is going to be tailored specifically to you. So for a ritual, whereas you can absolutely just attend the free event and get the ritual and work on it on your own to how you're going to tweak it to make it work for you. Or you can pay and have me, I will channel a ritual that is different from the one in the group. It will be channeled and specific to you and your situation and what's going on in your chart. And Robin is going to do the same with giving you ways for which planet she would recommend you specifically commune with, and how you can specifically do that for you and your unique situation and your unique chart placements. So that's only $15. The information on how to sign up for those mini readings is in the event link, which is in chat right now. You'll need to sign up before the event because we need to have your information and pull your chart before the event. So go ahead and sign up for that now. We're only going to have space to do 4 of those during the event. And then we'll have chances to, we haven't talked about that because we'd have to both give our input on it, but I'm sure we'll open it up to have a few more spaces outside of the event. So if you don't get into those first 4, we'll open up a few more spaces because Robin and I will have to get together and collaborate on that to give you readings after the event. But do it now because the spaces are limited. So that's all I wanted to say about that, and to let you know to keep an eye on the calendar. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say. Oh my God, I wish I had said that while everyone was still on the call because I forgot. I mentioned this before, going into 2022, I'm developing a moon journal / planner for you all. And so February's is almost available. It will come out on January 31st, but I do want to give you just a sneak peek at what it is in case you're interested. And as some of you were interested last time, I'm also going to lower the price a little bit. Let me get my screen share up so that you all can see it real quick here. Oh, I've got too many things on my screen. I don't know what y'all are looking at right now. Hold on. One moment. I'm almost there, y'all.
Can I just say, I think this black lipstick is amazing on you.
Ah, well, thank you.
I totally dig that.
Thank you. I'm digging it, y'all. It might become a standard. Okay.
Oh, I like the purple lipstick on you too.
Yes, the darker shade, me too.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Okay, here we go. I think I got it. Real quick. So with the journal, it is a moon planner is what I'm calling it. I've gone a little bit more in depth. There's a lot more meat to this one than the last one. So it's going to be different every month. And this one, I give you a brief synopsis of what's going on in the air, a little journaling prompt there, some more information about what's going on astrologically. And then you get your month at a glance. I went by that really fast. Your month at a glance, so you can plan out your month. Your mood tracker, so you can track your moon as it relates to the moon phases. But of course, there's a unicorn on that. And then your day-to-day. So this is what I like about this planner, because any day of the month, you can open your planner and you can see on Friday, February 4th, you can see the phase of the moon, the sign it's in, Aries, and the element associated with it, which is fire. You can also see on this page, it has places for you to set your intentions, because this is coming right out of the new moon this week, and a place for you to say what you're grateful for. So a little bit of journaling on each page. Gives you all of the phases right in the middle. It gives you, because this is the page before the full moon, it gives you that full moon printout so you can work with the full moon energies. And then getting into the full moon, it says the things that you want to celebrate, or the things that you're happy that have already manifested, and then what you're grateful for. So that's just a little look. There are other pages involved in this moon journal, and it will be available on my website, goddesswithanattitude.com. For those of you who haven't visited my website before, that's where you'll be able to go to get the moon journal, the moon planner. All right, so I think that's all I needed to say. Awesome. Okay, I'm not seeing any other comments. Thank you all so much for coming and joining and participating and staying to the end. We will see you next time, hopefully next week, for our troubleshooting event, and then next time in 2 weeks from now for the full moon in Leo. Whoa, I'm looking forward to that one.
We did get a question. Sky asked how much your planner is.
Oh, Sky, good question. I haven't officially priced it. It was $10 last time. So it's either going to stay at $10 or I'm going to drop it. $10 or less.
There we go. I wanted to give a little preview. I haven't gotten the Leo ritual yet, but the one after Leo, so a month from now, the next new moon is a Pisces moon, I think. I think we have Pisces coming up next.
Yeah, that sounds
and right. I got a heads up on that ritual this morning, and it is going to be called Healing Your Psyche's Micro Tears.
Ooh.
That's right. I got an introduction this morning to the idea that it's not just that we have major trauma, but there are a lot of like little traumas in life. You know, when people said something that hurt, or those things you remember from 5th grade, and it shouldn't have been a big deal, but somehow it just stuck in your mind. And now it comes up every damn time you pick up the phone to call your mom, you know, like those things. And my psyche said today, I need you to help me heal the micro tears. So that's what our Pisces ritual is going to be about in a month. And I'm not sure what's up with Leo yet. I haven't gotten that, but the Pisces one is going to be about healing. And I have to tell you, I've already started doing this and I feel a lot better. It's made a really big difference. So I'm super excited to bring that all to you guys when the time comes.
All the sneak peeks, you guys. See what you get when you stay to the end, all the sneak peeks. All right. Thank you all so much.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for your positive comments. That means a lot to us. Very, very validating and helpful. Super appreciate it. Goodbye,
Christina. I'm still in that thing behind you.
Goodbye, Cheyenne.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, Claudette. Who else is here? Goodbye,